Hi, I'm Karen Johnson. I'm here with Johanna Rothman, who gave a keynote this morning with a title that I'm not sure I can say, so I'll ask her to repeat the title herself.
Becoming a kick-ass test manager.
I think you like saying that.
I do.
Awesome.
It's so uncharacteristic of me to swear. I don't swear with a microphone on, except for today.
Okay.
So, yeah, what the heck.
So there were some really fun parts of your presentation, but I've actually been reflecting on one part in particular since this morning. So
Okay.
you mentioned something about when you end up in a situation where you have staff,
Yeah.
and they're going to end up being sourced on multiple projects, and things are getting kind of crazy and busy and multitasking and all that, you should say no.
Absolutely, you should say no. Right, you should staff one project at a time, finish that project, and then go to the next project. If you have enough people, you should staff 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how many projects you have and how many people you have. But this business of half a tester here and a quarter of a tester there and a third of a tester, this is totally nuts. Nobody learns anything. You don't get anything done. Multitasking wastes your time. You cannot get anything done. It's totally, totally nuts.
I read something the other day.
Yeah.
I can't think of the citation off the top of my head, but it basically said you lose 10 points of IQ for every bit of multitasking that you're doing.
I believe it.
So I got a little bit scared because I thought, wow, that's a lot of IQ I'm losing. I don't know if I can afford that.
Right, right.
But I want some coaching from you, please, because I know that you do. And I
Yeah.
actually need this, and we'll just pretend we're not being filmed, and you can
Okay.
coach me, because I don't think I'm alone on this one.
Right.
So I get all of this in theory. I
Right.
really do. I get
Right.
it. You put a slide up, and it's like, yeah, it looks nuts when you're on 5 different things at once.
Yeah.
But in the thick of the thing, when you're in the heat of the moment in your office and the pressure comes on, and no one even asks you to say yes. So you don't end up in a situation where somebody's asking you and you can say, yeah, okay, or no, that's crazy. No one even asks. They sort of assume the next thing you know, like the ball is rolling ahead of you. And so you don't even, it's not even saying no, it's stopping the rolling ball and saying no. How would you coach somebody who's maybe not the best at saying no to start saying no?
So the first thing you do is figure out what are all the things on your plate. You have to collect the work. Because when I coach people, the first thing I do is say, collect all the stickies, all the emails, everything you have. Write it all down on 1 piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper, 3 pieces of paper. I don't care. I actually suggest to people that they take a legal pad and write everything down so that they can see it. And then, or if necessary, put it on stickies, put it on cards.
I put mine on a mind map a couple of weeks ago, and I scared myself because it looked really big.
Yeah, well, that's because there's a lot there. So the reason I suggest a legal pad of paper is because you want to actually see everything in one place.
Okay.
And then the reason I either suggest stickies or cards is because if you put it on a Kanban board, because I actually use a Kanban board for my work, then you can rank it. Okay. And then you can say, what have I already committed to? Because you have to do the work you already committed to, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe, yeah. Because this is one of the big secrets. Because sometimes you actually get to say, is this a real commitment? Or is this something I can maybe postpone? So in our business, right, we write articles. Well, maybe you don't have to write that article now. In the same way, and for testers, maybe that project doesn't have to get done now. Maybe that project can get done later. One of the big things for projects is a lot of people say, oh, a person's asked me to do a project, and maybe it has to get done right now. The big question in projects that a lot of people don't always ask is, when do you need it? Right? The when question is a big question, and you want to say, When do you need it? You don't always need to have it right away.
So can I argue that a little
Sure.
bit? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Argue.
So what if mentally I still feel like I have a tremendously long list? So even if I can stagger it out, it makes things saner for this week, this
Yeah.
period of time. But what if my mental switching still feels like it's so overloaded because I still have a super long list?
Okay, so the next piece is you have to say, are my chunks too big? Right? The chunks of work you have on your list are probably huge. So I have an article up on Sticky Minds today, actually, that went live. Or is today Wednesday? Maybe it went live yet.
It's blurry at conference week, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had an article that went live this week, and if I put down on my list, write article, that's too big a chunk, right? I'm not going to write
And it
an
goes in
article.
cycles anyways, right? A review
Yeah.
cycle, it comes back again.
Exactly.
Tasks that don't go away, that come back.
Right. So you can't put write article in the same way you can't put test project on your list of things to do. You have to say test cycle 1, write draft 1,
Right.
because you're going to go back and do it again and again.
But if I break it down really small, will I end up still overcommitting because it then seems also manageable? I mean, I really have this problem, so I'm looking for your help.
Well, and you might.
Free.
But
Counsel.
if you break it down really small, now you actually see what you can do.
Oh.
And if you break it down really small, maybe you won't overcommit.
So you're saying make it visual, make it tangible, make it small so you can see how big it really is. And it's not this
Yes.
vapor of like some unknown.
Right.
Okay.
Right. One of the reasons we overcommit is that we say, oh, I don't have to do that for another month or two. I can do that. Well, no, you can't.
Right.
And this is the same problem that test managers have, that development managers have, that project managers have, that our senior managers have, right? We commit ourselves to doing things because it's in another month or two, another 6 months or two, another year or two,
Right.
and then we have to do it, and it's now.
Do you think the future always seems like it has more time? Like next
Of
month will be
course.
better.
Of course.
Like it's just this week is bad.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah,
Next month.
this week is bad, but next month is going to be a lot better.
All right, so let me shift it just a little bit. So there's saying no to myself so that I can realize this is too much and I need to say no.
Yeah.
Now imagine I need to walk down the hall and say no to somebody who's really hard to say no to.
Why are they hard to say no to?
Oh, come on. There's the
Well-
billable client, there's the difficult manager, there's the senior executives.
Well, no,
there's a whole bunch of people who are hard to say no.
There's the people that are hard to say no to because you like them, and then there are the people who are hard to say no to because you don't like them.
Do you just break people down into those two groups?
No, there are
people who
more.
are
Right, there are
right?
more groups. Well, no, I mean, there's many, many ways to say no. So there's the say no and say, when do you need it? There's the say no and say, I could have it for you by this date. There's the say no in the sense of, is this a strategically important project? Right, so as consultants, we actually say to ourselves, is this something I really should do? Mm-hmm. And when I talk to my clients about the project portfolio, one of the big questions, in fact, the 0th question is, should we do this project at all? Excuse me. When I walk into organizations and I say, this is the 0th question, sometimes you get that deer in the headlights look. Here. Did that translate? Okay.
You're very good at that.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's that, oh my goodness. She asked us that question. Oh no. Right. It's that we have not wanted to face the truth about half these projects. And no, we should not do these projects. They're sacred cow projects. They're pet projects. We've been doing this project for so long, and we have not wanted to face the truth about this project. This project is doomed. And no, we don't want to face the truth about this project, but we don't know what to do about this project. So if we just don't ask ourselves this question about this project, and maybe it will go away on our...
Denial is really powerful.
Yeah,
Right, I get it. I do.
So, but if we ask ourselves, should we do this project at all, then that's the zeroth question. Now we say, there are lots of other questions, but then we ask ourselves, how does this project move the organization forward? How does this project contribute to the organization? Right? There's lots and lots of questions.
So what if people give you an answer? I just want to go back. This is all coming from somebody who's not the best at saying no, right? Like I constantly end up doing too much, right? So what if I go and I ask some of those questions and the answer is, yeah, you're right. It's not really a first priority, but it is a second or third. And you say you're really busy this week, but 2 or 3 weeks from now, further downstream, you can get it on your schedule, and that's priority where it belongs. But what if that's still not enough? What if I just really need to say no? It's not no, not now. It's simply no. Any tips on that?
Well, for people who have a really hard time saying no, there's this construct called the parking lot, right? So you move it to the parking lot, and then and you put it on the parking lot and say, I'm taking it out of consideration. So I don't have to look at it. I can do all the other work on my project portfolio and put it on the parking lot and not rank it and not do it. And that way, I'm not committing to it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
But, and if it's for a client, you don't ever say yes.
Wait a minute. I'm focusing on learning how to say no. Now
Right.
you're telling me don't say yes.
Right. So
Is
you
it always
never
maybe?
No, you never say maybe.
Oh,
Never say
that's
maybe.
bad.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe's a terrible thing.
Oh, all right.
Maybe, for the people, if you ever say maybe, the people who hear maybe think it's a yes.
Yeah, maybe is not a good word.
Right.
actually.
Maybe's a
Okay,
terrible
right.
word.
Yeah.
Right. But
And kids all know that if you say maybe, it means no.
well, the people, if you say maybe, the people who hear maybe think that it's a yes if they want to hear yes,
Right.
and the people who hear maybe think it's a no if they want to hear no, and you're the one stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe is a terrible word.
It's a bad word.
Right. But I really like the word no.
I admire that. So back to the parking lot. Now I realize maybe I'm a valet driver. Because I seem to run around the parking lot just picking up those cars. But to go back to another part of your presentation from this morning, you were saying championing people that work for you is a great way to become like a kick-ass manager because you're empowering other people. So maybe what you need to do is send other people out into the parking lot. Build the parking lot and send people out.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think the key is that you have to become the champion. If you want to be a kick-ass test manager or a kick-ass development manager, you have to be the champion for these people, right? You're the one who's not allowing the multitasking. You're the one who's saying, I stand up for my team. I am saying, no, we cannot allow this to continue. We are the ones, the buck stops here. If you want more testers, by God, you have to hire them.
So you want to safeguard people, basically.
Yes. We know, I learned this the hard way. I wish I could tell you I was always a great test manager. No, I learned this stuff because I was stupid. I wasn't stupid for too long, but I learned this because I was stupid. And when I realized that you cannot work for more than 40 hours a week and be effective, right? You can do it for a couple of weeks. Well, for me, only a couple weeks. And then I just get more and more stupid because I'm not very good without sleeping. And the older I get, the less I am good at it. So it's really important. If you want people to be effective at what they do, you need to make sure that they have the best work environment. Now, sometimes it's all about the tools that they need, but mostly it's about the management work environment. And that means no multitasking, and it means that they get feedback on their work, that they have people that they can respect. That's why you have to hire the absolute best people that you can find, and that the team has a substantial say in who they hire. And it's all about making sure that you've created an environment that reflects the culture of the organization, and that the team says, yes, I want to invite my friends to work here because it's so wonderful to work here.
That's very telling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then that's when you say, okay, people want to work here because it's fun, because it's great, because we work hard, but we work hard for 40 hours a week.
Right.
And when we go home, we are exhausted because we worked really hard. So there's a real difference between working hard for 40 hours a week and working hard for 80 hours a week. When you work hard for 80 hours a week, you don't actually feel intellectually exhausted. You feel physically exhausted.
Right.
But it's a totally different intellectual exhaustion.
So if you work smart and you work hard, at 40 hours you feel like,
you're done.
yeah, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
You've put in a really good day.
So you probably mimic that for people around you, I'm guessing. Right? Like you get up and leave at the end of the day. 'Cause
Oh,
that
yeah.
sends a signal to other people that they're okay to get up and leave too.
Oh, yeah.
We're not doing the hero thing. Didn't we do
Oh,
that
no.
in the 80s? Like, oh, I'll work 60 hours, I'll test for pizza. Like those days
yeah.
they're gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, when I had my first child in 1988, that's when I realized I could no longer work 60, 70 hours a week because I had a child to go home to, and my husband was not very good at going home. So one of us had to,
Right.
because the babysitter had to leave. So that's when I said, oh my goodness, I'm getting so much more done. I was exhausted at the end of the day, but I had a very constrained day, but I was getting so much more done in my constrained day. I said, oh, I'm never going back. Never
All right.
going back.
So build a board, make it visual.
And then make your chunks small. This is the key, right? We start off with these big chunks of work. Forget it. Make your chunks small.
All right. Okay.
Read the project portfolio book.
All right. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
A little extra coaching on the side.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right.